Thank you everyone for joining us today for this Ability Podcast. I'm your host and producer, Mary Baudouin, and today our guest is Emily Wolf, a mother, author, and advocate in Acadiana. Emily, thank you so much for being here today. Great to see you.
Me.
Absolutely. Tell our audience a little bit about yourself.
I've lived in Lafayette my entire life, all 40 years of it, and I have been married to my best friend Matt for 18 years, and we have one son, Seth, who is 17 years old.
He was diagnosed with autism, correct?
So he was diagnosed with autism at the age of 2.
And he also has congenital muscular myopathy. Is that correct? Tell our audience a little bit about that. What is that?
So his myopathy is a lot like autism in the way that it's a huge range of severity of symptoms. So luckily he's on the milder end.
Okay.
It's the RYR1 gene has a protein for muscle function. So when you have mutations in that gene, it disrupts the normal function, which affects your muscle strength. So he has a lot of fatigue and weakness and reduced stamina. He has heat intolerance and also some muscular skeletal issues, scoliosis, chest wall issues, and gait issues, sleep apnea. The biggest thing with that is that he needs a lot of rest and a lot of sleep.
Can working out help him develop his muscle tone, or is that something that's not really recommended?
We don't really know. Like in the early years, physical therapy wore him out more. Wasn't worth it. But now that he's kind of going through puberty, we feel like he is gaining some muscle strength.
What are some of the challenges that have faced you or are facing you as a special needs parent?
I think the beginning, it was hard because when he was diagnosed, I didn't even know what sensory integration disorder was. So he always had issues since birth with low muscle tone, eating, feeding issues, which we brought him to speech therapist when he was 7 months old because he couldn't transition to baby food. And that's when she said sensory integration disorder. And I was like, what is that?
Right.
So started researching, and it kind of all made sense for so many of the things that we had been dealing with.
So was it the texture of the food that
Texture, like he preferred one bottle over all the rest. Very funny even as a baby about routine, like me holding him, very sensitive to noise. Like if I could finally get him to sleep and I would just set a cup down on the table, it would wake him up. So I think it was a steep learning curve for everyone, but I would say the hardest part in the early years was the isolation. And if I wouldn't have found a Facebook group, then it would have been really lonely. Finding a community of other people who were in it too.
I'm glad you mentioned that, because when Lexi was diagnosed with lissencephaly, this was in 1997, but the internet was actually just kind of coming about. And I found things like the National Rare Organization Disease website, but Facebook was not around at that time. And now we have a lissencephaly group, and I'm very grateful for it because I can meet other parents across the world. So Facebook, although social media does have some negative connotations with it, I think there are some good things, and those specific Facebook groups for parents or people that have certain diagnoses, it can be a huge help.
It was life-changing. And then you could ask questions, learn things.
Right.
I felt like that was a lifeline.
Right. Whenever you mention eating, was the discussion of getting a feeding tube ever brought up, or no? That was not something to consider.
It was at one point, just because he was so tiny.
Right. I was wondering about his nutrition. Was he getting enough calories a day and things like that?
Luckily we did OT. We went to pediatric therapy, TLC. He was practically raised there. Feeding therapy there. And now it's funny because he's still so tiny, but he eats.
He's thin, but he's
so
tall.
Much.
You wrote about, and we'll talk about your writing in a few minutes, but you wrote about dark moments in parenting. How did you work through those moments? How did you find the light at the end of the tunnel, so to speak?
So I think the darkest moments in the early years were, well, my husband is a pilot, so he's away from home a lot. So I became Seth's 24/7 routine. And even when Matt was home, he still wanted me because that was his routine. And there were days where I couldn't console him. He was hurting himself. We couldn't even go outside. So it's even going to get fresh air for a few minutes seemed impossible. So it was overwhelming. But the blessing in all of it was, as Seth got a little bit older and could communicate a little bit more, he started looking and he would notice every little heart shape or every cross around. It could be a crumb or a shadow. He'd be like, a heart, a cross. And so we held on to that. We call them heavenly love notes. So we started finding them everywhere. So you could have the darkest day and then see a little heart shape. And then I would feel okay, it's going to be okay.
So those little things that can make a big impact, hey, don't give up.
Yeah, it was a perspective shifter, even just for a second to take your mind off of the overwhelm and be like, okay,
yeah,
God is here. And I always felt like he was reminding me, do what you can right where you are, one step at a time with what you have. So it's just kind of taking me back to the present, finding some peace.
You mentioned earlier about Facebook groups. What other resources, communities, organizations have been especially helpful to you and Seth and anyone else in your family? Is there a group here in Lafayette that's helped, or Acadiana?
Yeah, so Seth went to Christian homeschool in Milton for many years, like age 4 to 16, I think. And they became like family to us and accepted Seth for who he is and where he was, helped me as well. And then more recently, the last few years, Red Oaks Coping.
Oh, right.
That my friend Stephanie had started. That changed everything. Seth found a place where kids were like him and they could just relax around each other.
It wasn't a super rigid school structure. And
yeah, it was a hangout group. Right. And he still does his hangout group. He has it tonight and he's so excited about it. But those kids, they're so deserving of community and friendship and belonging.
Right.
That has been life-changing for both of us.
And they can probably learn from each other too, and parents as well, I would imagine.
Encourage each other. Yeah, the parents have their own little hangout group for pick up and drop off.
I bet.
That's nice.
That's a good thing. That's a good thing. And I remember reading a few years ago that you had written a blog and you talk about wishing that you heard "be yourself" more growing up. What does that mean to you? How has that shaped the way that you parent Seth?
Yeah, that has stuck with me. I have never wanted Seth to feel like he was less than, and I always tried to celebrate every positive thing any chance I got for him, because I never wanted him to feel like he couldn't be uniquely himself and be celebrated for that. And he made it really easy, because even from a young age he would sing this little song, Jesus made me, and it was so simple but it was so impactful, because it's like he knew that he was made on purpose with a purpose. And he struggles from time to time, but he really has a confidence in himself that I wish I had.
I understand.
It's all a gift.
Absolutely. You mentioned that Seth has always been unapologetically himself. What do you think helps him to hold on to that confidence?
He's always been that way. And he makes me laugh because he just makes no apologies and he does not care. Like, I don't care if people like me.
So what's his personality like?
Very compassionate, very loving, encouraging, kind. And he has a really calm, sweet spirit.
Now, you mentioned meltdowns. What triggers a meltdown?
We've come a long way over the years with his meltdowns. We've learned a lot about sensory diets and how much that affects things.
So, like if it's not prepared the right way or a certain texture? No,
not food. Just like sensory diet. Like if he hasn't had enough input that day or too much overwhelm, too much stimulation. His rest is a big thing. He needs to be well rested. Which I guess that kind of goes for all of us, because when we're tired, we're on edge too.
Yeah, same. Completely.
But when he was younger, it was more self-injury, which was, to me, the hardest thing as a parent. But thankfully,
that's got to
really
be scary.
With that.
Yeah, that had to be a little scary, right?
Very scary.
Yeah.
But I mean, that was from the time before he was even 1, and his little head.
Right.
Like he still has a dent in his head.
Oh.
But that's the most heartbreaking thing, I think, as a parent, to watch your child hurt themselves, and you can't help them. But thankfully, Seth is 17 now. He's come a really long way in a lot of areas.
You said that Seth has changed the way that you view your own uniqueness. Why is that, or how is that?
Watching him and his friends just be free in who they are, like, it is really inspiring. And I've always been super self-conscious and self-critical. He set me free in a lot of ways, still working on it. But letting go of comparison and insecurities and trying to be proud of who I am.
So what qualities would you say that you would like Seth to pass on to other people? Or what would be your wish to everyone that they could learn something from Seth?
The thing that Seth has taught me the most is that success in life has nothing to do with what you're capable of, everything to do with your faith and your love. It's kind of like rewriting the script on quote-unquote success. And we always talk about how we wish we could change the world's view of success to not be based solely on accolades or job titles or things like that, but more based on the compassion you share with those around you. I feel like him just being himself and shining his little lights, that's success.
And speaking of a different kind of person. Yeah, he's a different kind of sea star, right?
Our little book.
Yes. Let's talk about your book. What inspired you to write a different kind of sea star?
So it's funny because we just, I don't know, kind of made it up one day. But the whole book is basically based off of Seth. And one day he was swimming and he popped up under the water and he said, I need to wear my sunglasses under here because it's still bright. Because his eyes have always been super sensitive to light.
Yeah.
He's always got his sunglasses with him.
Even underwater. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So it just made me laugh.
Yeah.
And then it kind of just spiraled from there. And Seth imagined what he wanted the character to look like and what it would be and how it would have rainbow fins. All the parts of the book are things that Seth likes to do. Time with his friends, hide and seek, picking up trash, and then finding the heart shapes.
Right. I love the book, by the way. For those of you listening, I read it to Lexi, and she loved the book. I mean, the child was so attuned to me reading it and was looking around. She was looking at the pages because it's beautifully illustrated. It's not too bright, but the colors are beautiful. And I love the images of the sea star wearing the sunglasses. It's so cute. And I think, you got to embrace the uniqueness.
Embrace it and be happy and proud.
Does he have any aspirations to write a book?
Seth has a lot of big, huge dreams.
He does?
Yes.
Okay, what are they?
So one of them is he wants to build his own children's hospital. And he has so many good ideas because he doesn't like the way the hospital systems are.
I don't either.
He's like, doesn't work.
No, it doesn't.
Have his own school one day because he sees the things that need help in the school system too.
I would agree with that.
He has, a lot of dreams.
A lot of dreams.
And I love it.
I do too.
Yeah. But he does have a YouTube channel that he loves. He does RCs.
Okay. Oh, remote control.
Yeah.
Sounds like my husband.
Yeah. They would get along.
Oh, absolutely. My husband is 50, but he's a child at heart for sure.
Well, I'm sure he goes to Big Boy Toys.
Oh, he does. That's a big
store.
thing. Yeah. Do you have any plans to write another book in the future?
We actually do. We have a whole nother book written and illustrated.
Oh, fun. Already. Wow.
Yeah. I worked on it the last few years, but we just haven't done anything with it yet.
So maybe it'll be released next year, possibly.
Hopefully.
We'll see. Okay. I hope it does. Because A Different Kind of Sea Star is such a great book, and it'd be great to have a part 2 or just continue to read a different type of journey. But you're a great writer. And the illustrations were beautiful. Is it the same illustrator?
I did it.
You did it yourself.
Yeah.
Wow.
So I did that.
That is awesome. All right, let's talk about the JoyHeart Collection and ministry through art. And I love your t-shirt, by the way. She's got a navy blue shirt on with a rainbow and some hearts and a butterfly. Lexi, I don't know if Lexi already has that shirt or not. She's got something similar, but it's really cute. So tell us how you and Jada, and for those of you not familiar with Jada, we did interview her, I think in season 1, about this collection and her family and her son. But tell us how that came about.
Well, first of all, Jada is like my sister, and I always say that God's love for me is shown in the way that he wrote our friendship, because I'm not sure how I ever lived without her, because she gets life in every way, the special needs aspect, and her husband is also a pilot, so having a husband who's away from home a lot, and then we shared a love of creating and our faith. So we just started making art together as kind of our therapy and our decompressed time and our self-care, and it was really healing for us. And then one day we were having coffee and we just felt like maybe we could create something to share God's word and truth in art. So we invite other people to share their art as well in the collective. And we just hope it grows into a community of sharing God's blessings and supporting one another.
Right. And you call it your praise song to God. What does that mean? Can you tell our audience a little bit more about what that is like?
Our collective is all for his glory and to share his goodness. He is our light, and we just want to try our best to share that with others.
Yeah.
So just trying to be a light in the world. And we fall short. We are the first ones to admit that we do not have it together. We get together and we try to talk and we laugh because we can't even string a sentence.
Oh, that's okay.
Because we're so scatterbrained all the time.
Hey,
you know, and we have our good days and our bad days. But we just want to remind people that we all struggle, but we don't walk alone.
Yeah.
You know.
No, that's a great sentiment, because when you're a special needs parent, there are multiple things to take care of. It's almost like, adulting times 10, because there's so many different aspects of parenting that you have to take care of. And then I find, because I'm 50, when you get to be around the middle ages, literally, you not only have to worry about your children, but if you have elderly parents, that can be a delicate balance as well. Both of my parents are deceased, but when parent starts to get Alzheimer's or sickly, then you kind of have to juggle both, and it's not easy to do. And then if you have a job and then, you know, your own health to take care of, that can definitely be a lot.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And then, like you said, even with the middle-aged, you get the more fatigue.
Oh, yeah.
You know, and then just having, over the years, you just get more tired. But yeah, the brain fog is real.
Yeah. So how does someone shop your collection? It's on Etsy, right?
We're on Facebook and Instagram. Share not only our products, just scripture and encouraging things and part of our stories.
You often remind Seth that God does not make mistakes. What does that belief mean to you? And what do you think that means to him?
As we grew deeper in our faith, we just realized, I think parenting Seth helped me grow deeper in my faith and dive more into scripture and the Bible. And then I was able to learn more about God's character and realizing that he is perfect and he is all powerful and he is all knowing and he created us for a purpose. Right. He knit us together in our mother's wombs. All of our days were written before one came to be. And trusting in that and in our stories just helped me realize that he's incapable of making a mistake.
Yeah.
So however we are and wherever we are in life.
How has your faith helped you through the ups and downs of parenting?
I don't think I would be here without my faith. Faith has been everything to us.
Yeah.
We've had major wins and deep defeats.
Okay.
But he is our reason to rejoice and be glad in each day.
Yeah.
And I still struggle with anxiety and scars from stresses that we have faced in the past. Surrendering and leaning on him changed everything. And I truly feel like if we didn't have faith, I'm not sure where we would be. Because it is our hope and our peace and our strength.
Does Seth enjoy going to church?
So that's something funny because before I was in Bible study and I taught Sunday school and I did vacation Bible school. And Seth has never liked church. It's always been too crowded and too loud. And we tried everything in the past. We even sat out in the hall. They put us in a separate room with a TV. We really tried to be part of church for the longest time. But I was so worried because I wanted Seth to grow up in church. I was so excited about that.
Right.
And he's never really been to church.
Right. So it doesn't have to be a physical place. It's more like a state of mind.
Yes. Yeah. It's like God has been by our side and it's been so evident and clear, and Seth has such a good relationship with God, even not going to church, that it just puts my heart at ease. You know? That's good though. But I do hope we can get back to church.
Yeah, maybe one day. Just try it. Check it out. If it's not working, leave.
If I've learned anything, it's that our kids will surprise us. So
all the time.
I never give up on one thing.
Right. What advice would you give to parents who are struggling to accept their children's diagnosis?
I feel like it's going to be a journey for the rest of time. And some days you're going to do really great with accepting. And then some days you're going to be mad or have grief about it. And I think that's totally normal.
Yeah.
The best advice I was ever given in Seth's early years was to meet him right where he was.
Yeah.
And they said, stop trying to force him into your world and step in and join his. And so literally that day, I went and sat. He was looking out the front window just watching cars go by. And I just went and sat next to him. And we watched the cars go by together.
Oh.
And it was like no therapy goals, no pushing anything, no pressure.
Yeah.
And the more that I did that, it was like a shift happened. And I was able to accept and learn and grow. And we did that together. And also knowledge. Like, I think if you don't, I don't know, I feel like I've read every book ever made to try and understand. But I feel like the more that you can understand, the more that helps you accept. Too.
Very good advice.
And support groups, I'll say that again. Even if you can't leave the house, that you know you're not alone, and that helps you accept too.
Right.
Because sometimes you do feel like very isolated.
Go back to the book. What do you hope that children and their parents take away from the book?
So the character is different, but he's happy.
Yeah.
And that's why we repeated so many times, like, he's a happy little sea star.
That's right.
Because he's just being himself and sharing that. And we just hope that it inspires other people to shine as God has made them, to celebrate their uniqueness, to know that they were created on purpose and for a purpose.
Well, I know that we love the book, and I know that Lexi, if she could speak, she would tell you that she loved it. But have you gotten any other feedback from parents that have read it to their children?
We've gotten some good feedback, and it really just makes us happy. Kind of made it just for ourselves, to be honest, because we loved it, and it was just a celebration. Just really happy when we get to see other people. We had written, like, on construction paper, a story literally just about celebrating who we are. And Seth drew these pictures, and it was the sweetest little book. So I think having that that we had already written.
Okay.
And then when he said that, and it just kind of sparked like...
It just all came together.
And we love the sea and the ocean, and he thought of all the little characters, and we drew them together. And
Nice.
And it means a lot to Seth to
Well, sure.
share it. And he really wants to inspire other people.
Mm-hmm. Well, our listeners, if they could remember just one message from this conversation, what would you want it to be?
The biggest thing that I would want people to remember is that God is love, because I feel like that is everything.
Right.
And our relationship with him is peace regardless of your circumstance.
Yeah. Well, Emily, it's been a pleasure to interview you. Thank you again for being here on this Ability Podcast. Thank you, audience, for tuning in and listening to our episode. Thanks for listening to this Ability Podcast. Our mission is simple: to highlight ability over disability and to create a space where stories are heard, valued, and celebrated. If today's episode encouraged you, inspired you, or helped you to see ability in a new way, please take a moment to subscribe, leave a review, and share it with someone who needs to hear it. Every download and every share helps us to continue amplifying stories from the disability community. We would also like to sincerely thank our Season 3 underwriters, Hassling Properties and Red Oaks Cottage School, for believing in our mission and helping make this platform possible. Their support allows us to continue highlighting stories of resilience, advocacy, and inclusion. If you or your organization are interested in becoming an underwriter for this Ability Podcast, we would love to connect with you. You can reach us by email at thisabilitypod@gmail.com or send us a message through any of our social media platforms. Until next time, keep learning, keep advocating, and keep celebrating every ability.